Hello, everyone. Welcome to week 5 of conflict resolution and labor negotiation. My name is Greg Zarko, and this is my presentation for the week. The public employee union that I chose to talk about is the International Association of Firefighters, otherwise known as the IAFF. And they represent firefighters across the United States and in Canada, and they have a headquarters in Washington D.C. and in Ottawa, Ontario. And the IAFF represents more than 330,000 full-time firefighters and paramedics, um, and it claims that it also protects more than 85% of the population in communities throughout the United States and in Canada. So the International Association of Firefighters responded by releasing a statement through their president, um, and it pretty much stated that they believed that the case was pushed by forces that wanted to take away the voices of the firefighters and the power of all public employee unions, and that the intent of the case was to handicap unions in their ability to improve the members' lives and to weaken their political power of public employees. Statistics show that there was a bit of a drop off in all public employees. Unions, the IAFF has kept their membership strong, and it goes to further prove the, to show why their fire pack or why their federally registered pack or PAC is in the top 1%, and they usually donate very heavily to uh, a candidate that supports their cause. The article that I found, "Do Collective Bargaining Rights Save Lives?" Um, discusses what a union actually does for the fire service. Not only does it help increase the wages, but it also helps implement wellness programs that are discussed in the collective bargaining issues and meetings. And it talks about the difference between volunteer firefighters and professional firefighters who are paid and therefore are given these benefits that the union has fought for. And it also discusses the free rider problem that the Janus case created, since not everyone has to pay into the unions. For the most part, most firefighters do, or at least the statistics show that the the employed firefighters do. Um, it does it does give a more rounded look into unions into labor negotiations, how it affect into the fire service. I found this interesting. The fire stations that have paid professionals, paid firefighters, have less injuries, have less deaths. They do have uh, things put into the labor negotiations, such as smoking bans that help protect the firefighters or the employees, so they can in turn save more lives and lose less of their own lives in the process. So the Wisconsin Act 10 bill that was passed in 2011 was presented by Governor Scott Walker, who was facing a $3.6 billion budget deficit. And his idea to reduce that deficit was to pass legislation that would um, give more power to the government and allow it to have more flexibility for finding potential savings and keeping their budgets balanced. And he did this by removing um, the collective bargaining from unions and compensation, retirement, health insurance from public employees, with the exception of firefighters and um, law enforcement officers. So this definitely angered the Democrats of Wisconsin. And what I found interesting was that when this bill was trying to be passed, the 14 Democrats fled the state and went to Illinois um, in order to delay the vote. Ultimately, ended up passing, and ultimately, um, there was definitely a lot of emotions going around. People were protesting. People were sitting in the government building. Um, but if you look at at the savings, if you look at it, if you look at this act many years later, you could see that the state of Wisconsin now has a surplus in their budget. Um, so did it work? If the goal was to reduce the deficit, then yes, but it also took a lot of rights from the unions, and therefore it took a lot of rights um, from people, from government employees. So it's a very political issue. It just depends on which side of the spectrum you really want to make the argument for. Okay, so that concludes my presentation for the week. Thank you very much for listening. I look forward to listening to yours, and God bless.